The emotional experience of intimacy. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, and seekers of deeper connection, today I want to speak with you about a subject that is at once tender, universal, and profoundly human: intimacy. Too often, when we hear the word intimacy, our minds quickly rush to the physical or sexual. But intimacy, in its truest form, is far larger than that. It is about emotional closeness. It is about the courage to be known, the vulnerability to be seen, and the trust to open one's heart without fear of judgment. Every human being longs for intimacy, whether they admit it or not. We are, at our core, relational creatures. From the moment we are born, we crave closeness. The embrace of a parent, the comfort of being held, the assurance that we are not alone in this vast and unpredictable world. As we grow, our understanding of intimacy matures. We discover that intimacy is not simply about proximity, but about presence. Not just about touch, but about trust. Not only about passion, but about patience. In speaking about intimacy, I am speaking about what makes relationships thrive, what gives them depth, and what allows them to endure. Intimacy is the heartbeat of love, the rhythm that carries two people forward through life's triumphs and trials. Without it, relationships become shallow, transactional, or fragile. With it, they become profound, resilient, and nourished. And so, the emotional experience of intimacy is something we must seek to understand, not only so that we might build healthier romantic relationships, but so that we may also cultivate closeness with friends, family, and even ourselves. The foundation of intimacy: trust, vulnerability, and safety. At the foundation of intimacy lies trust. Without trust, intimacy cannot survive. Trust is what allows us to reveal who we really are. It is what enables us to share our fears, our insecurities, and our dreams. Trust is built slowly, often through small acts of consistency, honesty, and care. A partner who listens without judgment, a friend who shows up when it matters most, a parent who holds us in our darkest hour. These are the moments that form the bricks of trust. But trust alone is not enough. For intimacy to flourish, there must also be vulnerability. Vulnerability is the willingness to be seen as we truly are, without pretense, without the masks we so often wear. To be vulnerable is to take the risk of being hurt, but it is also the path to being fully loved. When we allow someone into the deepest chambers of our heart, we invite them to witness both our light and our shadows. Vulnerability, then, is not weakness, it is courage. It is the doorway through which intimacy enters. Alongside trust and vulnerability, intimacy requires a sense of safety. Safety does not mean that challenges will never arise, nor that conflict will never exist. Safety means that within the relationship, there is an unspoken promise: I will not weaponize your openness. I will not use your honesty against you. I will hold your heart carefully because I know it is fragile. Emotional safety allows people to let their guard down. It allows them to relax into connection, knowing that they will be met with compassion rather than criticism, with empathy rather than indifference. When trust, vulnerability, and safety intertwine, intimacy becomes possible. It becomes a bond that is not easily broken. It creates a shared space where two souls can meet, not as perfect beings, but as authentic ones. In that space, we feel seen, heard, and valued, not for what we do, but for who we are. The emotional dimensions of intimacy. If the foundation of intimacy is built upon trust, vulnerability, and safety, then the emotional dimensions of intimacy are the ways in which those foundations come alive. Intimacy is not static. It is a living, breathing connection between two people. It manifests through empathy, through shared meaning, and through the profound sense of belonging that comes when we feel truly understood. At its heart, intimacy is about connection. Connection is more than simply spending time together. It is about being emotionally attuned. It is about noticing when your partner's mood has shifted, sensing when your friend is carrying an unspoken burden, or feeling joy at another's success, as if it were your own. This kind of connection makes us feel less alone in the world. It reassures us that someone else gets it. Someone else is tuned into the frequency of our inner life. Empathy deepens this connection. To be empathetic is to step into another's experience, not to fix it, but to feel it with them. When empathy is present in a relationship, walls crumble. Suddenly, it is safe to express fear, sadness, or even anger, because those emotions are not met with rejection, but with recognition. Intimacy flourishes where empathy lives. Ava life. Finally, intimacy creates shared meaning. When two people are emotionally intimate, their lives begin to intertwine in a tapestry of shared stories, inside jokes, traditions, and dreams. These shared experiences create a sense of us, a bond that is stronger than the individual threads. We begin to write a narrative together, one that says, I am not just me and you are not just you. Together, we are something great. This is the beauty of the emotional experience of intimacy. It transforms ordinary relationships into extraordinary ones. Intimacy in romantic relationships. Romantic intimacy carries a unique power because it combines emotional closeness with affection, passion, and partnership. Unlike casual connections, romance asks us to bring our fullest selves into the relationship. It demands not only honesty, but also tenderness. To love romantically is to open our heart to the possibility of being transformed by another person's presence. At the center of romantic intimacy lies communication. Communication is not just about words, it is about tone, timing, and truthfulness. A partner who listens deeply and responds with care communicates more than information. They communicate love. Silence, too, can be intimate when it is filled with presence rather than distance. When couples learn to share not only their daily routines but also their deepest fears, hopes, and longings, they create a bond that outlasts surface-level attraction. Passion is another dimension of intimacy in romantic relationships. While passion is often associated with physical desire, it also extends into emotional energy. Passion is expressed in the excitement of being together, in the spark of shared laughter, in the thrill of imagining a future side by side. This kind of passion is not limited to the physical. It is the fire that keeps two people curious about each other, even after years together. Tenderness may be the most underrated form of intimacy. It is the gentle touch on a weary day, the comforting word spoken when no solution exists, the simple act of holding space for a partner's pain. Tenderness softens the sharp edges of love. It reminds both people that love is not only grand gestures, but also quiet, consistent care. When communication, passion, and tenderness meet, romantic intimacy becomes a sanctuary, one where two souls can rest, grow, and thrive together. Intimacy beyond romance. While romantic relationships often receive the most attention when we speak about intimacy, it is vital to remember that intimacy extends far beyond the realm of romance. In truth, intimacy is the essence of every meaningful human connection. We find it in the bonds of friendship, in the ties of family, and even in the sense of community that arises when people come together with trust and care. Friendships thrive on intimacy. A true friend is someone with whom we can drop the masks of performance and simply be ourselves. Friendships that endure over time are not defined by constant contact, but by emotional closeness, the kind where months may pass, and yet the moment we reconnect, it feels as though no time has gone by. Intimacy in friendship is found in the quiet support during hardship, the laughter over shared stories, and the comfort of being known without judgment. Family intimacy has its own unique form. It is built through shared history, rituals, and unconditional ties. Within healthy families, intimacy is expressed through care that transcends circumstance, parents who stand by their children through mistakes, siblings who defend each other fiercely, grandparents who carry wisdom and love across generations. Family intimacy offers a grounding sense of belonging. It reminds us that we come from somewhere, that our lives are rooted in connection. Even communities can foster intimacy. When neighbors look out for one another, when members of a group share trust and shared purpose, a collective form of closeness emerges. Community intimacy provides security and solidarity. It is the knowledge that we do not face life's challenges alone, because others walk alongside us. In all these forms, friendship, family, and community, intimacy serves as the glue that binds people into meaningful human networks. Challenges to intimacy. For all its beauty, intimacy is not easy. If it were, every relationship would flourish effortlessly. Yet intimacy is delicate, and it can be disrupted or even prevented by forces both internal and external. Among the most significant challenges are fear, trauma, and miscommunication. Fear is perhaps the most common barrier to intimacy. Many people long to be close to others, yet they hesitate because closeness requires vulnerability. Fear whispers, if I let them see who I really am, they may not love me. If I open up, I could be hurt. This fear can cause people to build emotional walls, to keep conversations shallow, or to withdraw when situations become too personal. The tragedy of fear is that in trying to protect ourselves from pain, we also block ourselves from the possibility of profound connection. Trauma presents an even deeper obstacle. Those who have been betrayed, abandoned, or abused often carry scars that make intimacy feel dangerous. Their nervous systems may associate closeness with harm, and trust becomes a mountain too steep to climb. Healing from trauma takes time, patience, and often professional support. Yet when healing does occur, the reclamation of intimacy can be one of the most powerful forms of renewal a person can experience. Finally, miscommunication quietly erodes intimacy. Even two people who love each other deeply can struggle if they do not feel heard or understood. Small misunderstandings, when left unresolved, can grow into resentment. Assumptions can replace clarity, and silence can take the place of connection. Miscommunication does not always destroy relationships, but it can dim the closeness until the bond feels hollow. Recognizing these challenges is the first step toward overcoming them. By naming the barriers, we prepare ourselves to approach intimacy with wisdom, compassion, and intentionality. Nurturing intimacy. If intimacy can be challenged by fear, trauma, and miscommunication, then it must also be nurtured intentionally. Intimacy does not simply happen by chance. It is cultivated through daily choices, through small gestures of care, and through the willingness to grow together. 3 essential practices, presence, honesty, and love, serve as the lifeblood of this cultivation. Presence is the act of truly showing up. In a world of endless distractions, offering someone our undivided attention is one of the greatest gifts we can give. To be present is to put away the phone, to set aside the rush of responsibilities, and to simply be with another, listening, noticing, and valuing their presence. Presence tells the other person, you matter, right now, nothing else is more important than you. Honesty deepens intimacy by creating transparency. Without honesty, trust falters, and without trust, intimacy cannot survive. Honesty is not always easy. It asks us to share uncomfortable truths, to admit mistakes, and to communicate openly about needs and boundaries. Yet when practiced with kindness, honesty becomes a bridge rather than a weapon. It clears the air, strengthens trust, and affirms that the relationship rests on a solid foundation. Love is not only a feeling, it is a decision to act with compassion, patience, and generosity. Love chooses forgiveness over resentment, care over neglect, and tenderness over indifference. When love guides our actions, intimacy naturally grows, because the other person feels safe, valued, and cherished. Conclusion: the emotional experience of intimacy is one of life's greatest treasures. It is the invisible thread that ties us together, reminding us that we are not meant to walk this journey alone. Intimacy requires effort, courage, and care, but the reward is a connection so profound that it sustains us through every season of life.